Well, welcome back to this special show this Easter with Rhidian Roberts. Now, Rhidian, as well as albums and performances, we'll talk about your stage career as well. But first of all, your album, of course, One Day Like This out at the moment, a nice glossy cover. Your fifth, what's it like to make 5 albums? Still as exciting as it was?
Well, more so, yeah. I've been very hands-on with this one. I've been working for it for nearly a year now. I've been executive producer, overseeing every single decision made on it, from what I wear, from the photographer, from the music chosen to the orchestra used, etc.
Yeah.
And it's been tiring or consuming, but rewarding, you know, and at least there's only me to blame if people don't like it. And yeah, 5 albums. I mean, I've been in the game professionally, I guess you could say 6.5 years. I mean, 7 years since X Factor, but then there's a year of doing the show, and so 6 years of making albums. We've done 5 albums, so I've been keeping busy.
Yeah, and I mean, something we touched on the last time we spoke, you know, the amount of stage shows you've done, you know, We Will Rock You and War of the Worlds and all these big sort of stage shows. How hard has it gone from being, you know, a musical star to a stage performer, and was it your choice? How did it all come about, really?
Well, I mean, it came about because casting directors saw me on the show initially. Well, Jeff Wayne, actually, from the War of the Worlds, you know, creator of that great work. He saw me on the telly and rings me up and says, would you like to appear in the War of the Worlds? And I was like, let me get back to you.
Call my agent.
Yeah. It didn't take me long to think about it. And I was like, yeah, I'd love to. And he was just a divine human being. He's very humble, just a sweet man, and very proud of that work he is, and so he should be. And I got to meet great people. I worked with Justin Hayward of the Moody Blues, which is why I recorded Nights of White Satin on my latest album, because of you know, he's the orchestrator of that and the writer.
Yeah. And
he told me a lot about that song. But not only Justin, I met one of my best friends, Jason Donovan, in that show. We were touring for a month together, and just that was how it happened, really. So the exposure from the TV got the casting directors interested, but I feel for the West End performers who don't have the TV exposure, who are kind of sidelined a little bit to let these names in, and you know,
auditioning all the time. I guess.
And I've always been aware of that. But like 7 years on, I mean, I don't get booked now because of the well, I might a little bit, but I've still got to audition and turn it in at the audition.
Well, it's still hard work. I mean, I came to see you when you did We Will Rock You, you know, the bad character that you played. I mean, things like that, you know, it can't be an easy task to turn yourself into a villain for God knows how many shows touring across the country.
Yeah, hundreds of shows we do. We do 8 shows a week, every week. I enjoy it because I studied drama as well as music. I then went to the Royal Academy in London to do musical theatre. So I quite like acting through song, becoming a character. It's nice once in a while. I wouldn't want to do it every day of my life for the rest of my career, because I love my solo work. I love making albums. I love one-off concerts as well. But theatre will always be a big part of my life, I hope, anyway.
So would you consider yourself now as an actor, a classical singer, or maybe jack of all trades, I guess?
Well, I'm a classical crossover artist, predominantly, first and foremost, who is fortunate enough to perform in like West End touring productions, and I'd like to think that I can act. I've been trained in it, you know, so it would have been what I would have done as a vocational degree at the Royal Academy. If I hadn't have gone into the X Factor, I would have been auditioning for West End shows, no doubt. I've always led myself more in that genre towards theatre than opera, actually. Although musically, I like opera, and singing-wise, the technique, I think that's the optimum. But as far as a genre that reaches a wider audience in a form that I understand more, that touches me, it's musical theatre. So roles like the Phantom of the Opera, Jean Valjean, Javert, Stars, you know, Les Mis.
And if they could pick up the phone now and ask you, you know, right, you know, we've got a musical right now, what would it be? What would you go into at this very minute if you could? Because, I mean, Wicked's in Cardiff at the moment, you've got all these big musicals.
Well, Wicked's fine, yeah. I mean, Wicked, I could play Fiero, I guess, but that would be fun to be a part of. But I would say I would be most suited to the Phantom. The Phantom, the first Phantom. Vocally, it's right for me. The character's right. That's what brought me into music. I remember seeing it on my 18th birthday on Valentine's Day, and I was in love with the show. It's such a great story, and I met Scott Davis after, and I was in awe because I thought his performance was great. And I remember he bothered to stop for 10 minutes to speak to me, and he missed his train back home. But he was passing on advice and stuff. So, and I thought then, I said, I want to play this role.
Okay, well, we'll come back lots more to talk about. Let us know your next song suggestion.
Well, I was thinking of maybe playing a duet from the album. I'm very fond of this lady. I was lucky enough to perform with a couple of great acts on the album, but Kerry Ellis, we're talking theatre, she's the leading lady in the West End and Broadway. She's become a friend, and she did this duet with me on the album. It's called Vivo per lei. It's in my top 3 favourites of this album. So this is Vivo per lei with featuring Kerry Ellis.
Vivo per lei da quando assai la prima volta l'ho incontrata, non mi ricordo come mai mi entra da dentro c'era stata. Vivo per lei perché mi fa vibrare forte l'anima, vivo per lei e un anno e un pezzo